etheric a transformer.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I think when we were showing that circuit board multi-wave oscillator antenna, because Peter Linden remembers he was there when all this stuff was going together, and he quickly pointed out that it works best with no power because the power is already there. But there's a simple kind of parable to describe how much power exists around us. So the velocity of the Earth, we really can't tell what the absolute velocity of the Earth is without some kind of point of reference, but I think it's, I could be wrong, I think it's somewhere around 250,000 miles an hour. I'm not certain, but it's of that magnitude. So now, if we take this glass of water that's moving 250,000 miles an hour, what happens if we throw it off the train? It's going to make quite a blast. So there's a lot of energy just sitting here in how fast it's flying through space. But the problem is, if we try to harness that energy, then how's it going to influence the environment in warping gravity or causing eddies? Or see, this is the flaw of the concept of energy. Energy is a flawed concept. I keep pointing this out. The human race really needs to go beyond energy. And energy is always, it's like the sewage element of the ether. And it's a bad news deal. And it's, no matter what you do, it's still energy. You know, whether it's rabbit turds or coyote turds or cat turds, they're still turds, and they're still going to stink, and maggots are going to breed in them. So this is my idea of energy. There needs to be something to go beyond energy.
And you're talking about using power.
Well, Tesla's technology Tesla was aiming for a power-based technology rather than energy-based technology, because all the energy is returned at the end of the cycle. I can take a 12,000 volt power line, and I can put a 1 amp or 1 ohm reactance coil across that 12,000 volt power line, and I'm going to get 12,000 amps. 12,000 amps at 12,000 volts. That's a lot of kilovolt amperes reactive. The magnetic field's going to pull nails out of wooden ships. And the substation transformer obviously is not going to like the idea. But I can take a 1 ohm capacitor and put that across the power line. And that will pull 12,000 amps at 12,000 volts. But there won't be any external magnetic field. It'll all be in the counter space in between the plates of the capacitor. But nevertheless, the dielectric inside the capacitor is not going to particularly like the idea. So, but if I take the two of them and I put them in parallel, no current's drawn from the substation. The capacitor feeds the reactance coil, and the reactance coil feeds the capacitor, and I have whatever 12,000 times 12,000 is bouncing back and forth at 60 cycles a second between the two reactances, but no energy is being produced or consumed. There's no energy at all in that system. Now, if you try to draw any energy from it, then it dies out. But nevertheless, that's a lot of activity. And there's no energy required to do that other than that to overcome the losses. So this is what Tesla was heading into, was more of a power base rather than an energy-based technology. But Tesla, you know, was such a cryptic person, it's hard to, you know, we really don't know what he really had in mind. But that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about.